I don't have time for this bullshit.
Ha! Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. All this guy ever does is BS. Anyway, it's time for another edition of BSing with Big Nate.
Welcome into another BSing with Big Nate. It is time for Mindy's Macabre movie madness. It has been one of those weeks. Of course, we're coming hot off the heels of Halloween and a lot going on. And I've been dying to chat with Mindy about this movie that we're going to discuss. We're not doing the usual thing where we each pick a movie for each other. We specifically chose one, and we're going to discuss a franchise in depth. But today's topic is Halloween Kills. Before we dive into that, Mindy, what is going on in the Dying Oath world?
Well, as you guys know, we had to let one of our members go because he had some personal things going on and wanted to step down. So we have been looking for a bass player, and we found one. We are also currently in the studio trying to get the album done.
Okay, so first and foremost, I do want to point something out. Is there's a right way to do things and a wrong way to do things, and the way Dying Oath seems to handle everything with lineup changes and kind of just rolling with the punches, you guys do it all so graciously and in such a positive fashion. Like, everything with this transition has just been very positive, at least from what I've seen on social media.
Well, we try, because we really do pride ourselves on being a family first and being friends, and all of us have been such close friends. And Ryan, our ex-bassist, actually is my roommate and my best friend of like 10 years. So that was quite a blow for me. I mean, I know it was a blow to everybody, but for me especially. So, that was his decision, and we have to support each other first and foremost before anything else. So, what you see is what you get with us, and we really do care about one another and just want to try and move forward with all of our lives. And we do wish him the best, and I know he wants the same for us and is still super supportive of everything. So, we're family first, man. We kind of have to be positive if we want to keep going in the right direction.
I mean, there's a very good reason that the fan group on Facebook is called Dying Oath Family. Everyone feels welcome. It's a positive environment. I do, looking forward, we have to ask, new bassist. Who is it?
Yes, I'm going to do the big reveal today because, you know how much we love you and you've done so much for us. And I really want people to check the show out coming up. So it's actually a good friend of ours. Her name is Kristen Sawyers, and she actually is the vocalist for Villanova Heroes. And she's an amazing guitar player, but she is now a bassist, and she is phenomenal. And she's actually really good friends with Ryan too, and he's kind of helped with this process of helping teach her. And she came in, wrote her own parts, and just blew us away. So check out her other band, Villanova Heroes, and look out for that because she is a force to be reckoned with.
Oh, there is a lot to look forward to. So, I mean, that changes the ratio. You are now not the lone female in Dying Oath, and pretty exciting stuff.
I am not, and I think it's going to be crazy because people already are like, okay, well, you have a male who does the cleans, you have a female who does all the screams, but now you're adding in another vocalist who is also a guitar player who also writes music. So she's kind of a triple threat. So it's going to be interesting to see how things pan out. So
well, I mean, all those varying perspectives, everything can only grow. So that's pretty exciting. I do want to go ahead and not to bury the lead here. Halloween Kills. We have got to do an in-depth discussion, and first and foremost, I want to ask, kind of to get a background, because for me, Halloween was the outside of maybe Jaws, the first horror movie I was allowed to watch. And it was one of those, like, it's very important to my father. He's very defensive about this franchise. I really realized this recently because the entire time he was watching Halloween Kills, he was like live, not necessarily live tweeting, but live texting me things they did wrong. And I have a differing opinion because nothing is sacred. And I think art is always subject to change and interpretation. I will go ahead and say it just straight out of the gate. I loved Halloween Kills. And it's probably going to get a pretty high rating. But I want your perspective first.
First off, I agree with that. You and I are kind of around the same age, and we kind of grew up during the same time of horror, which is why we wanted to do this together so badly. And I definitely agree. Freddy Krueger is my favorite, but all the Halloweens are definitely a close second to me, along with Jason. Those are the classics. But I'm a huge Jamie Lee Curtis freak, fanatic. I think she's the queen of screams. And the only thing I was really sad about was that she didn't have a huge role in this. But come on, she's had a huge role in pretty much all of them. So it wasn't a huge disappointment. I thought that the effects and everything were fantastic. It's like you said, everything has got to change with the times and, with where we're at with all of these movies in general. But I thought it was wonderful. I absolutely loved it.
I'm hard pressed. So with this one, we very much so got a action horror movie.
Yes.
It was straight Michael Myers killing people. There was no real plot advancement. We did see a lot of like favorite characters return from the first, and I
Yes.
love that. There was also a great nod to Season of the Witch, where you had the playground scene with the silver shamrock masks. So. And I'm actually going to read some of my text messages from my dad while he was watching it. Was there any indication of Laurie Strode's daughter from 2018 and Kills in Halloween H2O when Josh Hartnett was her son? No, this timeline came immediately after the original, 40 years after. So those don't exist. And my dad said, that's stupid. My reply, but a pagan cult making a baby with Michael's DNA was totally okay. And he said, I mean, it could happen. Okay, so this franchise has what? I think now 4 different like alternate timelines.
Yeah.
So you got the Rob Zombie, the original franchise. You've got
Yep.
the H2O, and then Halloween and Halloween Kills. I think this timeline has done the best service to that character because they have made it the Shape. Not Michael Myers. It has become the Shape. And while we were watching Halloween Kills, it was kind of like to my wife, I was like, they very clearly like watched a lot of Jaws while they were making this because he just kills indiscriminately. There is no, it's just violence, and he's very, very good at it. There is something I see kind of going around online that people are trying to attach a message that I don't think is necessarily there, and I kind of wanted to have a discussion with you about it. I'm seeing people petitioning to boycott the film because Michael Myers is a homophobe.
I personally, being part of the LGBTQ plus community, feel that that's absurd. But that's just my opinion. Obviously, everybody's gonna have their opinion, but I think it's ridiculous, to be honest.
And I do too, and I kind of wanted to have this discussion with you. It was very important to me. That's why I've been asking if you've seen Halloween Kills yet. Even if Michael Myers was in fact a homophobe, is it really worth boycotting? Is it really worth petitioning? Does that make the impact of the film any like? Because he's not the good guy.
Right.
Like, you're not supposed to be rooting for him. You're supposed to feel dirty.
I agree, and that's my entire point. Is even if that were true, like he's the bad guy, he's the villain. Like, I mean, wouldn't that just make you not like him even more? But I mean, to me, as I said, being part of the community, I don't know. I mean, I think that's completely ridiculous. I'd still watch it either way. I mean, I still eat at Chick-fil-A, so yeah.
Right. That's where you and I differ. I've had enough chicken sandwiches in my life. Yeah, I just it baffled me. Like, why would that be? It's kind of like to take it to the absolute extreme. If you're watching a World War II movie, being really shocked and wanting to boycott it because Hitler is Hitler.
Yeah.
Of course. Well, you're not rooting for Hitler. If you're rooting for Hitler, there's something wrong.
I could not agree with you more. Do they have any like what is the basis of this? I mean, like
Because he killed Big John and Little John and then posed them like their wedding photo.
okay, but how many straight people has he killed?
Also, not only that, he also did murder an interracial couple, and Big John and Little John were in fact living in his childhood home.
Yeah. So what? Once again, what is
There's
the basis?
no strong argument. Like I can't find it. I've racked my brain and racked my brain, and ultimately it takes away from what I think is just an ultimate like shove popcorn in your face and enjoy. It was
I
a fun
agree.
ride from beginning to end.
I mean, especially for people like us that have followed it all the way from the beginning of the Halloween movies. It's like, we've waited for this for a long time, number one. And number two, it's got everything in it that you and I absolutely love about slasher films. Like, I don't see how people could see anything but just cold, hard killing. So.
The moment I saw the trailer and you see Michael Myers kind of pop out on the front porch with a Halligan bar and like ready to take on these firefighters, I was like, there's no way we can possibly steer this wrong. And
Mhm.
I don't think we did. Again, like I said, it does nothing to advance the plot. The story, the canon hasn't really changed. You kind of dive into the mob mentality and the psychological effects on the town of Haddonfield. But it's very much so on the back burner, and I think we're going to see the final results and Halloween Ends. Of course, as you mentioned, Jamie Lee Curtis, kind of a very secondary, but with good reason because she's still dealing with the effects of 2018's Halloween. I don't know. All in all, I'm very tickled with this one.
Me too. I thought it was an amazing plot twist. Not trying to spoil it for everybody, but like I thought it was amazing, especially like, the whole time you're thinking, well, you've got the dream team here to go after him because you've got all the survivors. They know what to do to survive and how to get through all these things. And you get all the way to the end and you're like, this could possibly be a thing. Like if this is possible, which we all know that it isn't, then this could be the people who actually do it. And you make it all the way through the movie, and then you're like, ha, just kidding.
So I've got to ask because this one did, in my opinion, have the very best Halloween kill of all time. Is there one from the franchise that stands out to you in particular?
Oh gosh. There are so many, but I've got to say though, like the one that sticks out in my head now after watching this one was, when he lifts the firefighter up like in the air. Like that was just the most epic thing ever. I think I squealed like a little girl in the theater when it happened. I'm like, yes, this is awesome, like
Okay.
epic.
So yeah, that is now my number one all-time Michael Myers kill because
Mhm.
like he lifted, okay, first of all, a Halligan bar, which he's carrying, they weigh like 50 pounds. They're not light. And he lifted a human up. And then you were like, oh, buddy, this is just absolutely on. Previous to that, it was the from the first one when he kind of just jams the knife in the guy and then kind of does the but man, the Halligan bar firefighter kill, and then find out later, and I love how they did it with the you see all the firefighters getting ready, and then it just cuts away, and then you find out he took out 11 first responders who are armed with some pretty blunt instruments, and I mean it's not body armor, but it may as well be because it's fireproof. I was sold. Just absolutely sold. I'm very excited to see what happens next year when Halloween Ends comes out. I do also want to mention Anthony Michael Hall, the douchey boyfriend from Edward Scissorhands, the nerdy kid from Breakfast Club, and of course, the original Rusty Griswold. I was excited to see him getting some work in 2021.
Me too. Like that kind of blew me away. Like I knew that they were going to have some people come back and whatnot, but I did not know that he was going to be one of them. And I thought that was brilliant. I also thought it was brilliant how, they led from the 2018 straight into this. Like this whole movie, I just think was just brilliant. I mean,
and you
honestly.
still kind of honor the second movie with the whole like being set in the hospital.
Yeah.
You also honor Ted Hollister, who died in 4, 5. The EMS driver who dressed as Michael Myers and then got killed by a vigilante mob. Like there's nods to the entire like original franchise, just jam packed in there. A lot of Easter eggs, and I think it's time we rate this one.
You know that it's always like really hard for me to give like high ups because I'm so into slasher films, but I'm gonna give this one a 9.5. Man, it has so much amazing stuff in it. I can't 9.5 easily. Like phenomenal job.
Yeah, So now I feel weird because I went after you, and I'm giving the exact same 9.5 machetes. Yeah, it's not flawless by any means. It is 100% fun. There was not a moment where I wasn't fully entertained, hanging, captivated, waiting. What's going to happen next. I also shout out to the elderly couple playing with the drone and just fighting back and forth. I turned to my wife and I was like, this is us in like 30 years. And then they died and I was like, okay, hopefully not us in 30 years, but very, very close. Like those human moments just very much so like blended with all of the trauma, all of the chaos. Like it was all so very fun, captivating, and it felt real. Also, I love that like we've just completely ignored the rest of the franchise and Michael can actually, run now.
I know, right? Like that blew me away too. I'm like, dude, he's like on speed now. What happened?
It's a whole new element. It's very exciting. Of course, we'll have to do this again when Halloween Ends come out, and we still have to talk space horror. Joe from Brain Cell, if you're listening, what the hell, man?
We're ready for you.
We are ready for you, of course. Mindy, Dying Oath, very, very important that you follow them. Do you guys have any shows coming up?
We have booked one that we have not announced yet for January because obviously right now we're in the studio trying to get everything done, but we had an offer we couldn't refuse for a show in January. So that's the only thing that we have booked so far, but we do have some huge, huge news coming up soon. So definitely watch out for that as well. And as I said, Kristen will be ready by that time. So yeah, we're super stoked, man.
A lot to look forward to. I am stoked as well. Mindy, of course, thank you for joining me once again on Mindy's Macabre movie. Oh, there we go. That's okay. So that's not a Shatner mask. That is the Rob Zombie Halloween version, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, there you go. That could be a whole nother discussion. We could dig into the franchise even deeper. We could do a master class or a Ken Burns documentary. Mindy, I appreciate you as always, and look forward to talking to you next month.
Nice to see you.